me don't ever make coffee again.
Why?
Because we don't drink coffee, so I don't know how much to put in it.
Probably camel coffee.
It walked across the table.
All right, at 7 o'clock, I'm going to call our meeting to order. And the first item of business will stand and say the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, next order of business is to approve November minutes and the December claim docket. Has everybody had a chance to review those items?
I have reviewed the November minutes and the December claim dockets, and I'll make a motion that we accept them.
I'll second that.
Okay, got a first and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next on old business, we have ordinance updates from Graham. So he provided us new language for kind of repealing ordinance 2015-01, which had to do with, that was the parking time limit over here in Kentucky. And then ordinance 2018-02, which is the referring to the park, Lambert Park being closed from dusk till dawn. So has everybody had a chance to review those changes? Any questions? All right, if no questions or discussions, we have a motion.
Make a motion we accept both of the changes.
Okay, got a first?
I'll second it.
All right, got a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. We've repealed ordinance 2015-01 and changed the language to 2018-02 and clarifying its changes with time that the park's closed. And then the next ordinance I have is our salary ordinance for 2022. So we reviewed this last month, and I think the only change you made since last month was talking about the sewage plant operator and assistant operator getting paid vacation. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
That's the only addition from last month's review of that.
But you have, I left the amount of weeks blank for you guys to put it in.
Okay. All right. So what's our consensus on weeks of paid vacation? How many weeks of paid vacation? So far, you've been getting three weeks each year. Do we want to stick with the 3 weeks?
That's fine with me, yeah, I'd say we stick with the 3.
Okay. All right. So we'll write in 3 weeks. Any other discussion on our salary ordinance? I think, John, you mentioned yours wasn't enough, right?
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Okay.
All right. Do we have a motion to adopt our 2022 salary ordinance?
I make a motion that we adopt the
Okay. Do a
22
first
salary ordinance.
and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Motion carries. Salary ordinance is adopted. And then, Graham, did you have any more information for us on the snowbird? I'm calling it the snowbird policy,
Yeah.
where if a resident spends an extended period of time out of state in the winter, that we can not bill them for sewer services during that time. And you'd send a real good email explaining the way the
Sure.
rules work on that.
Sure. So just kind of to summarize, the statute regarding rates for sewer allows you to distinguish between customers and make classifications based on basically the cost to provide services to those customers. So, for example, Speedway a number of years ago had a different rate for customers based on where they were located and how far they had to go to service those customers. So the thought here would be you could distinguish, assuming there's a difference in providing the services to folks that are out of town for extended period of time versus those who are around for the winter, and you could distinguish the rates on that basis. I think you'd want to have some analysis that there is in fact a difference in cost, and have somebody in the case of Speedway, I mean, they could prove that there was a cost distinction there. I'm assuming there would be here, but I'm not an engineer, and I'm not an expert in that area. But that would be kind of the thought process. And then I think it would take an actual amendment to your rate ordinance to do that, if in fact you wanted to make that change. And then just kind of thinking out loud here, some questions I would have are, how long do folks have to be gone in order to trigger that distinction? Is it 3 months, 4 months, 2 months? I could envision, some questions around that.
Okay, does anybody have any discussion questions or thoughts on that? One of the things I looked at based on your email, which, having some way to prove that this resident is not using the services that they're not being billed for. And so there are different options available, and I could sit down and talk with George also, but there's one that they have it's just a sensor that you clamp it on their main water intake into the house, and it detects flow. And so that sensor can then be accessed via an app or a web page, and it would let us know for that period of time no water went in, so therefore nothing went down the drain into the sewer system either. A benefit to that is, one, for us it's a provable thing that we can look at and say we've measured this. For the homeowner, it would also be beneficial if you're out of town and suddenly you get a water leak, which happened in a house right over here in Western Addition. It would alert you right away. You suddenly have an extensive amount of water flowing into your house. If they don't expect anybody to be there, it would let them know something's wrong. So it kind of has two benefits. It has a benefit to us as a town of proving, and a benefit to the homeowner of where something's monitoring your water intake, and if it should be zero and all of a sudden you're getting water flow, you'd know to send somebody to check that out. But I didn't know if you had any experience with those at all, George, or?
No, I mean, I know they exist and stuff, but we'd have to get into where you would actually attach it to, and
Well, and this, the one I looked at, it just clamps to the outside of the pipe. It doesn't even have to, you don't have to cut pipe, or it
right,
just.
and I mean, you'd have to get access to wherever that
Sure.
original incoming is.
Right.
Because everybody here has wells, so
Right.
we'd have to locate that, and more than likely it would have to be inside the house, because it's gonna be coming up through a crawl space or something, so.
And where's the expense come from for that?
Yeah, I think that's originally we looked at potentially doing metering for everyone, and I think it was a cost. There was a cost concern there.
Right, and I mean, that could be up to whatever negotiation. I mean, the resident is benefiting from not having to pay that sewer fee while they're gone. And so to me, it would make sense that they pay for this little meter to put on. Or if we wanted to kind of go the more complicated route, the town could buy a few of those meters and then they could rent the meter from us while they're gone for, obviously would need to be less than the sewer bill or else they wouldn't benefit from it, but that would be two options that I see that we could do with that meter. Is they either buy it or they rent it, one of the two. But then while they're gone, while they're in Florida or wherever they go for these extended periods of time, they have a way of monitoring and we have a way of monitoring to verify. And that way, if the State Board of Accounts ever says, well, why didn't you bill this person for these months, we say, here's our policy, here's our amended ordinance, and here's how our proof that they didn't use water. But this would be a benefit, I think, to help us continue a practice that we've already been doing, because, it's just been kind of one of those common sense things that we've done, but from a legal standpoint, we have to make sure that all our T's are crosses and our I's are dotted to comply with the rules.
I agree with all that. I think it should be something we should look into. The flow meter, if that's possible, then I think we should look more seriously what we can do with doing that policy.
Yeah, and they have these little meters at Lowe's. I was looking at them, and they clamp on. They use sonic kind of metering. I don't know what you call that technology, but it just.
Inexpensive or?
It was the one I was looking at was like $68, $68.99, and it allows you to have like I said, it communicates with an app or a web. You just register it, and then you can check that from anywhere, and they could just give us the code to it or whatever, and so we could verify that their water usage drops down to zero while they're gone.
Well, I don't know how many people in the corporation go out of town for 2 or 3 months for the winter, so I don't think it's that many compared to wanting to put meters on everything. Before they would come and they'd let Jenny know that we're gonna be gone from Florida or Arizona or wherever for X amount of time.
I think
and
I've
be
got
back.
4 people right now.
Yeah, that would do that, and then we just wouldn't get a bill for that period.
Is that,
Right.
is that four consistently every year, or is that just 4 currently?
No, it's usually the same 4 every year, 4 or 5. Right now there's 4.
Is there any way that we can check, by like looking at their electric bills and saying, okay, we can tell that you're not getting as much electricity, so we know that you have been gone? I don't leave, so I don't know what else people cut off when they do leave. I know that it wouldn't cut their electricity completely off, but you would definitely see a decrease in their usage.
But I don't know if you could check their electric bill. That comes from public service, or they have unlimited. Are they gonna give you my electric bill or Doug's electric bill, cause you want to see it?
But even then, if you're talking about your heat now, when it's between 50 and 60 degrees or whatever during the day, and you drop down to 5 degrees, there's going to be a big difference in electricity anyway. But if it's a sensor that'll work $68 and they want to go out of town and not pay their bill for 4 months, they can buy a sensor as proof. It's $68 is nothing if you're going to save 4 months on your.
And I think everybody agrees that this is you know, something that, a benefit that the town wants to be able to offer people if they go out of town, hey, let's not charge you for sewer. It's just a matter of being able to prove it, you know, if the State Board of Accounts wants to get finicky and, you know, really, you know, push this rule, they're gonna say, well, why'd you bill Doug and not John for this 4 months period of time? And what we need to have is some way of saying, well, here's why I didn't bill John for 4 months. I thought the little water thing kind of fit more with, I mean, it's a pretty good measure of no water's going into the house, and there's no water going down the sewer. So, George, that
More than
seemed to
likely.
fit with you.
Yeah, unless they got, you know, water softener or something, just naturally circulate, you're probably gonna have some usage there, a little bit, I would think. If they don't have any water softeners or nothing, or unplug it at least. So
Okay.
just mitigate that.
Any other comments or questions on that?
I would say we would want it to be at least a 2-month, vacation, at least 2 months. We wouldn't wanna say, you're gonna be gone for a month, you know, we'll let you not pay your bill. If it's more than 2 months, then I think that would be good.
I think we've also always had the standard, Jenny, right, of they have to let you know before they leave. Like, they can't come back and say, oh, I didn't pay these
Right.
4 months because I was gone. Can
Right.
you?
Yeah.
Because we don't have any way of going that way. I mean, at first I was wondering if just have them sign an affidavit saying, yeah, I'm certifying that I'm really gone. But from the email that Graham sent and the Indiana code that he referenced, didn't seem like that would necessarily be enough. I don't know if that's, what's your opinion on that, Graham?
Yeah, I mean, what it talks about is you have reasonable discretion adopting different fees based on classifications and costs, furnishing services to the various customers and users. So I think they're really trying to get at, you know, if it costs the municipality $100 to service certain customers in an area versus, you know, $50 in a closer area, then you can increase the amount that you charge the folks that are further away. So kind of applying that logic here, presumably it costs less to, you know, there's less of a cost associated with servicing people who are not there, putting a strain on the system. And so I think an argument can be made that you can distinguish between those two groups of people.
All right, any other thoughts from board members? I can do a little bit more research on the flow meter and talk to George, and then maybe put together kind of some details on it, and we can work on like a 2-month minimum. They have to notify us beforehand. They have to agree to the, you know, putting this meter on, that kind of thing, and then come back with that next month. All right, we'll table that for now. I still have not, next item on the agenda, the lighthouse mural on the food pantry. I still have not heard back from the artist on a rendering of what he was going to want to paint there. So I don't know if he's changed his mind or if they've changed their mind, but no more information there. All right, next item on the agenda, Jeff, our town manager, has a anti-discrimination ADA compliant resolution. Jeff?
Yeah, this is something that we got notified by the state of Indiana that all municipalities are being required, the state's Title VI anti-discrimination, which I sent you late in November. There's actually a couple copies up there if you want to reference a couple copies. But this is all about, because we've received federal funds, it's coming from the feds down. If you'll notice, the county's already got one. This is very similar to the Hendricks County plan. A lot of language was taken from another county, and it seems like a lot of people are using the same boilerplate language. I basically cleaned up the document, changed all the nomenclature of the town of Clayton, put in our contact information. There's an application process, and then as we go forward, we'll have to put it on our website, make it available so people know how to file a claim if they so choose. So this is something that's being required by the feds. Graham did a simple resolution to adopt it because we need to adopt it on a formal basis. So if you guys have read it and you're okay with adopting it tonight, I would appreciate that so we can check this box off and show we're making progress on this plan. If anybody's got any questions on specifics, I'll be glad to try to answer them.
Any questions for Jeff on this? Okay?
Did they give you the resolution back?
Yes.
Okay.
Need a motion?
Yes.
I make a motion to accept the resolution.
Okay, I have a first motion.
I'll second it.
All right, got a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, motion adopted. All right, and on old business, have traffic radar signs. John.
I don't know why I have your name.
Yeah, I don't. Yes, we,
I guess it
We
was
have-
when you were in the office when I was typing it out.
Chief Oliphant said the current sign that he already owns, he found a way to
Upgrade.
add some
Solar
upgrades so it's solar panel.
Right,
And he said that's gonna cost about
$750, I think.
$750.
Yeah. And I think I have some money in my budget that should be able to pay for that
Okay?
upgrade.
And we've already ordered the other two that we talked about last
Correct.
month, correct? So this would give him 3 signs to post around town.
I've identified about 10 locations throughout town too, where we're gonna post those.
Okay.
And they'll be moved probably every so often.
Okay? So do we have a consensus to allow Chief to spend $750 to upgrade his current sign?
yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Just have to move it every 4 days and recharge it.
Right. So you can get your solar panel on there now. All right, now parking on State Road 39 is the next item, and that has John's name to it also.
That
Well,
is right.
That's
Yeah,
what
that-
it was.
Yeah, last month, the lady across the street, got the shop, come over and was asking us if there was anything we could do about everybody parking in front of the business there. She says, because people that came to her shop really didn't have a place to park. And I told her I would talk to the owners of the business over here and everything, and I never did talk to them, but they moved out of town, so that rectified that situation, so pat myself on the back, I took care of that.
They're completely out now?
Yeah.
All right, next item on business online bill pay. Jenny has done some work on figuring that issue out.
North Salem State Bank goes through the same people that we were going through, and they got it changed from my personal email to the town email, and so everything's okay now.
Okay, so North Salem State Bank was able to help us with fixing some of our issues there, so that's good. Flags.
Flags, I didn't get around to seeing how much we have, but I will by the end of the year.
Okay.
We have our year-end meeting.
All right, well, we have lots of flags that are looking a little worn, and we
And
want to
the
replace
ones out here in
them.
the front look really bad too,
Okay,
the big ones.
With, need to get them down, but we need to do the ones that are still up.
They're down.
Are they down?
Mhm. Didn't, you guys took them down a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
John,
They're
by
all down?
I guess I should have put John by flag, but.
Yeah.
He's been in the woods.
Currently, all of our flags are down, and probably won't put those back up again until spring. So. Did we have any feedback on the banners? Well, since we're talking about flags,
The
the
military.
Daughters of the American Revolution.
The
what do you
military
call 'em?
banner, she told us we could put up our Christmas stuff, but we had to check with them, tell them when we were gonna take down the military banners. They could only, the Christmas ones could only stay up for like 2 weeks or something like that. It just seems kinda like I don't know, kind of a pain for somebody to take them all down, put those up and then take them all back down again, so it's up to you guys.
Okay. Well, and we're doing the program again next year with another set of military banners.
Right.
So,
They were only supposed to be taking applications till November the 20th, but I don't know whether they still will, because last time I talked to her, she only had like 3 new ones. So I don't know how many.
so if you're here or you're watching and you want to get a military banner for a loved one or a friend or family member that you want to honor, contact us and we'll get you information about how to get those done.
Yeah.
There's a thing still posted at the post
At the
office
post office.
with the lady's contact information as well.
Is that agreement with the DAR, when we negotiate that time frame of when, like, Colin, we could have, or is that not negotiable?
But they make a promise to the person who buys the banner. So each banner that's up, a family paid $109 for that banner. And the agreement that DAR made with them is it'll be up from Memorial Day to Memorial Day,
Oh,
with a couple of exceptions if the town wants to do holiday banners. So, but
But
yeah,
it seems
it's,
like 2 week periods of holiday banners is a little short
right,
for the community getting the holiday experience, so that's why I was asking.
Yeah.
right. What I've noticed, like other communities close by, they have their military banners still up, but then they have other brackets for their holiday banners. So if we wanted to look into doing that in the future, if we're gonna continue doing the military banners and honoring, our veterans and current serving, personnel, then we could also buy some additional brackets for just holiday banners that would then go up alongside them or in addition to. I don't know if that's, those are fairly
Military
pricey,
banners
but
are just on one side of the street, aren't they? Down-
with
down 39?
3 exceptions. The one by the bank is on this side. There's one right next door to us by this White House on this side, and then at the very north end of town, the last one is on the west side of the street as well. But all the other ones are on that east and north side of
This is on the right side.
Kentucky and Iowa. So yeah. All right, any other discussion about flags or military banners? Okay, next item, Pitney Bowes. Last month we approved a stamp machine for Jenny to use in the office, Jenny and Judy to use in the office. Jenny got some feedback from Keystone. They own the software that does our postcards for the sending out for the sewer bill, and they gave her a deal she couldn't pass up. Or is that how you put it? Or a deal you couldn't refuse?
That I
Something
could
anyway.
refuse.
So they're gonna actually print the stamp on the postcard before we even get it. So she's put an ixnay on the Pitney Bowes machine for now.
All those discussions.
Right?
Wasted time.
Well, I mean, from the start, it was all more to help them in the office and spending time sitting there putting stamps on 370
And
cards
the
every
postcards
month.
have to be torn apart anyway, so.
All right, so
I'm
for
just
now, we're
trying
not
to
gonna
save
get the
us money.
Pitney Bowes machine.
What happens if you destroy one of the cards? You pay for
I'll
it
find
in
out
advance?
another one.
But I mean, do you pay
Oh,
for
I
it
see
in
what you
advance?
mean. I don't know. I don't know. I have to go down to the post office and find out.
Still be cheaper anyway.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, any other old business, Jenny, that we missed? All right.
I don't think so.
New business. So the first thing that's not on your agenda here is we have a resident from over in Pennsylvania that have requested us to vacate an alley. They filled out the appropriate application. I believe Jeff gave everybody a copy of that. Alley vacate request or petition. So Wayne and Janet Long, sitting right behind Jeff over here. There's a 5-foot alley on the south side of their property running east and west that has an old outhouse and some rundown trees and stuff that they would like to work on doing improvements to that area. And so they wanted to have the town vacate the alley, turn the property over to them, and then they take responsibility for cleaning that area up. Yeah, so at this time, I'm going to actually close our regular business meeting and open a public hearing for vacating this alley, since this has to be a public hearing. And they've sent out notifications, put a publication in the Republican to make sure that they complied with all the rules about notifications. Now in this, you have listed 2 property owners that you sent notices to.
Actually, there's 3. I didn't give you the corrected version. I'm sorry. The third one is Richard and Debbie Noah, which is directly behind them. It kind of, when you look at it, there's like 15 or 20 feet on the side of their property, creating a third one.
Okay, so you printed off the wrong paper for us. So the notifications went out to them and you have proofs for those notifications. That's what I didn't get a proof of notifications.
She gave it to me.
She gave that to you. So you got proof of notifications to those 3 property owners that also abut that alley. So, so the Longs are on the north side of the alley, and then 2 of these property owners are on the south side, and then all three of them
technically
are?
on the south side.
On
One
the
of them
south
kind of
side,
wraps
yeah.
around the corner.
Okay.
Just a little bit.
Alright. And did we get any response from those 3 property owners? Are they here?
I got a verbal response.
Okay. I got a hand raised over here. Who are you guys?
We have 50 East Michigan, which is the first property to the
Okay.
south, I think.
So,
Hoffman.
yes.
Alright. Very good. I've talked to you on the phone multiple times, but I've never met you. So good to meet you. Alright.
How'd you
So
know
do you
that?
have any input on,
How broad is
This-
this alley, 5 feet?
it's a 5-foot wide alley.
I don't know anything about it, I just know there is an old building on there, which is apparently an outhouse.
It's an
Planning on
outhouse.
using that, but
They're not using the outhouse. I don't think so anyway. Nobody's using the outhouse. So is that the only feedback you have on that?
yeah, I know very little about it, I'm here to find out, but
Well, they want the town to vacate that alley and give it to them. So are you okay with that?
yeah, we have very little problem with that, yeah, we're not no problem.
Very little problem.
No problem.
What way, when you vacate something though, don't half goes to the adjacent property owners?
It depends on the petition.
Okay.
They petitioned for the whole part of it. So,
Well, I do know that outhouse you're talking about, that was approved to be torn down Darrell Jackson lived there in that house. He never tore it down.
We were told that they weren't allowed to.
Yeah.
That's what we were told.
Well,
Is a permit needed to tear down?
We
I'm
have
sure.
a,
We have a demolition.
we have a
permit.
demolition permit, but I don't know what size building is the minimum. It's a tiny little
but,
outhouse.
yeah, none of these, none of these
It's a
folks was
hazard.
on the board when that was approved. I was-
It's now open where a kid could go in there, and
Yeah.
so it's a hazard.
Yeah, so I would say that was grandfathered in, that when Darrell lived there, because like I say, none of these board members were on the board. I was the only one that was still here. So, I don't know the rules and regulations, but if it was already approved years ago, Darrell didn't tear it down, I would assume that in a matter of our records somewhere, that you wouldn't need a permit to tear it down. It's not that big, not much up there.
Just trying to follow the.
Yeah, right, I
Yeah,
understand.
Jeff, if you'll just double check with the ordinance on the demolition permit and what's the size that's, I mean, I don't think it's gonna meet the minimum, but if you'll just double check.
Just so the council knows, I did talk to Jenny Empson today at 38 East Michigan,
Mm-hmm.
the neighbor property over there. She's fine with it as well.
Okay.
So,
All right, and, the only other part of this staff members, so Pete and Jeff, you guys see any problem with the town vacating this alley? I mean, this alley's not gonna be needing to be used for anything.
no, in fact, the western portion of what would be the extension of the alley's already been vacated, and the house on Iowa Street's actually built over part of that old vacated alley, so.
Okay.
No utilities or anything, right?
Right. All right, any other questions from town council members? Public hearing is, now closed. And we will go back to our regular business meeting and, I need a motion to approve or to not approve. One of the two.
I make a motion that we vacate the alley.
Okay, I got a first.
I'll second that.
Okay, got a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, and, so the next steps on this is that we have to get with Graham. We'll write an ordinance vacating that alley, and then that ordinance we have to pass that ordinance next month, and then file it with the county clerk.
And just in this particular instance, it's being vacated and all of the alley is going to the petitioner?
Yes,
And the surrounding property owners are on board for that?
yes, we got
Okay.
that from the Hoffmans back here, and then you got that from the other property owners. Both of the,
I only talked to one, so
Okay.
it was two of the three.
Anything from the other.
okay. All right. Okay, next, item of business is our public hearing on sign ordinance, so I'm going to, give a little background. So our UDO, we passed back in January of this year, and there were parts of it that, weren't fully understood yet. And turns out the town business district language for signage didn't really allow our town business property owners, business owners, to have a sign that some of them already have. So basically, we passed an ordinance that made all of our signs not comply. So we wanted to change the language a little bit, make it a little bit better to, more welcoming to businesses, especially if we're gonna get any newer businesses into the future. So, Jeff typed up. Here. All right, so our town, our plan commission, discussed this and has made the following recommendation, that the town business district and the institutional use district sign standards add for a freestanding permanent sign that would be permitted, and the signs would be a maximum quantity of one per business, that the maximum square foot is 30, maximum height is 10 feet, and it's a 1 foot setback from the property line. Other limitations is that signs can have a constant internal or external illumination. Any external illumination has to be shielded from residences and the street. These are going to should be located on the same lot as the business, and no sign shall project beyond the property line into the public right of way. The UDO already had language about the visible triangle, and that didn't change, but he included that on this paper. So at an intersection or an alleyway, it can impede sight lines for traffic, and so this goes into that, what that visual triangle is defined as. So I'm going to close our regular business meeting again and open a public hearing on changing the language for our UDO for town business district and institutional use district for signs. Public hearing is now open. Anybody have any comments? Questions?
Just one piece of information where I got those regulations from. The board UDO already has a freestanding in a commercial district, and I basically used the same language. I think that had a 10-foot setback from a property line, but because we were talking about town business district in the heart of town, I narrowed that down to a foot. But that's where all the rest of the requirements came from. It's not just something I created because.
Sure. Okay, so this will basically be an amendment to the UDO to add language about a permanent freestanding sign. So we just overlooked that and didn't include it in that section. All right, no public comments. So we're going to close our public hearing and back to our regular business meeting. Any questions or comments, discussion from the town council? Okay. Anybody want to make a motion?
Make a motion, we accept the new sign.
Okay,
ordinance.
got a first motion?
I'll second it.
Got a second? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, ordinance is amended. I already did the salary ordinance in the whole business, I guess. Skipping that. Next item is an SRF distribution request approval. Jenny?
I've got 4. 3 for GRW, 1 for $9,200, 1 for $3,200, one for $555, and then 1 for in situ form for $119,166.
Okay, so, and these are all for work with the lining the sewers and the wastewater treatment plant upgrade. Anybody have any questions or discussions on that? Okay. I need a motion to approve these distributions.
I make a motion to approve those 4.
All right, got a first
Second.
and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion passed. We can distribute money then. Next I have town marshal office proposals. Everybody should have a copy of these. So Chief Oliphant was wanting to also get some painting done over next door. He also thought the carpet in all of his areas needed to be replaced, which that's carpet's been there since before this
Yeah,
was.
it never got remodeled.
Right.
There's 4 different colors of kinds of carpet, and colors over there,
Right.
and it's only like.
It's a calico office for sure. So there's the cost for painting and repairs to the wall. There are some drywall repair that needs to happen. There's kind of a hole in the one office wall and stuff. So we got an estimate for $1,200 for that part, for just painting and drywall. And then the floors, the estimate that you see here is for just labor, the labor part of it. I know Pete and myself and Brad went to Menards a couple weeks ago and looked at cost of the type of flooring that he had requested. The flooring cost is going to be a little over $2,000, and then this is the labor for that. So I wanted to bring that to you guys, see what you had.
I should have
Fine for
money
that.
too still, we could transfer my budget, could I, Jenny?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind replacing the vanity too when we're remodeling the bathroom, since we're taking the wallpaper down and all that.
You're getting rid of that wallpaper?
Yeah. It's going away.
It's gonna be an antique one day.
It matches Jenny's
I know.
wallpaper right now.
They are pretty.
Now, do you know the story why there's different colors in there?
What's that?
It might come back on that side.
It's coming down, man, I don't know if it's coming back around.
Matt, do you know why there's so many different colors over there?
No.
When this was the church, when they installed the carpet and
There's a room
we're
there?
gonna do some painting, I was doing maintenance here and they asked me to talk to all the ladies that had classes, which was 2 different services, and find out what color they wanted in each room, which, that turned out to be a nightmare.
How many years ago was that?
Oh my gosh, that had to be 90s, late 80s or early 90s. And this carpet's that old too,
It matches at least.
yeah.
All right, so I think the painting is an easy thing to move forward on right away. I know with the floor, just purchasing that enough. I know one problem when we were at Menards, like the ones that we liked, they didn't have enough in stock right then to cover the whole area, and you want to be able to buy all that at the same time. But so my personal recommendation is that we can go ahead and move forward with the painting initially, and then try to work on the next phase as we find available supplies for the flooring.
We could encumber the funds for the flooring though right now, couldn't we? If we have a quote.
If we get a quote for it,
For the
for the
supplies.
flooring,
No,
for the materials.
for the labor.
The labor, yeah, we've got
Yeah, the
that, so we
labor's,
can-
like
we
you
can
said, he's
encumber
got-
that.
We can encumber that labor and so if we have to do it in January.
He's got a cost of $1,200 for the painting, and then $2,800 for the labor for pulling up and getting rid of the carpet, baseboards, and so on and so forth. So, and then we'll get. Oh wait, I guess I read that wrong. He has painting and floors totaling $2,800. So all of that labor is included in this. The only thing we don't have included in this is the price of the material for the floor.
materials.
Alright, what are your thoughts?
Well, if you can get the money back for it, I'd say do it, if we can encumber it,
Okay.
you have my approval.
I mean, could we order from Menards and that way we already have an invoice and pay for it? I mean, I think that could be ordered.
Yeah.
The flooring.
I mean, that
Yeah.
probably would work also. Matter of. we found some really good looking flooring over there.
Yeah.
If we go back and order that specific color with enough,
They don't have it listed on the pad from now, they'll get it off centralized.
I just didn't want a gray from one area and then you'll end up with the same color pattern as your carpet.
Or different colors.
But,
Yeah, sometimes they've got, I've been to Menards and I need something, they don't have enough of that one. And like the one in Canby would have more than enough, so I would go and get the whole. But I'd say like it's what he says, nothing else, get it ordered.
alright, so it's, $2,800 for the labor and then a little over $2,000 for the cost of the materials for the floor. We have a motion for approving that work and
What
cost.
about the 300 if they have to repair the floor?
Matt can pay for that.
I've got funds for that still. I should.
But do we need to put it in there?
Yeah.
I mean, the floor is, I mean, what's underneath that carpet?
Should be hardwood.
Is it wood?
Wood floor.
Okay,
All kinds
guess
of
you never
wood.
know until you pull that
Some
up.
trees.
I mean, it's like on HGTV where they're gonna take it up and say,
Could we
oh, look
just
how
say
wonderful this
that-
is.
No,
Did they
like,
pull that out of the bolster rod?
Max. That would include that 300 if they needed it. And the
Okay.
and so just say 5,200.
And then what
Alright.
about the vanity?
As a max.
Vanity,
The vanity's replaced. It's,
so that's another
It doesn't need to be
don't have to
replaced
have
any
a
worse
floor
than this
work,
one
you
in
can
here
take that.
does.
You'd have 5,200.
okay. What's that?
I said it doesn't need replaced any worse than this one in here does.
They're both really bad.
I know.
Mine won't even stay clean. It's got like something on it that's
Ours is
won't
horrible.
come off.
Alright, so, Leanne has suggested to approve $5,200 for work in the town marshal's, offices for painting and flooring. Does that sound like what everybody else wants to do? I need a motion.
Also move.
Alright, moved first,
I'll second.
second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, we'll get to working on that. Next item on, well, I have Chief Oliphant, you're up next.
Wait a minute,
Oh, sorry.
transfer of funds.
Oh, well, I wrote that down at the bottom.
Oh,
We
I
can
wrote
go
it
down.
up here.
You,
Let's go.
alright, sorry, Chief, we'll do transfer of funds first. Transfer of funds, Jenny,
I don't know where it is.
you don't? You're gonna transfer money to pay your, Cleaner lady.
Yes, somebody lost their check
from last
from
year.
last year.
From last year.
So then it took it out of this year's budget, so I have to transfer $87.72 to make sure she can get paid this month. And then, the Social Security didn't have enough in it either, so I have to transfer $1,400 to Social Security and Medicare tax. So it's in the general fund, $1,487.72.
Okay. Any questions or discussion on transfer of funds?
I'll make a motion that we transfer $1,487.72.
Okay, got a first?
I'll second that.
Seconded? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, transfer of funds. Alright, Chief, now you're up.
Only thing I had, I'm gonna open up that second position, second part-time paid position. I'm gonna start advertising for it here probably next week. I'll accept resumes January 1st through the 15th. And it helps to have someone hired by the end of January. So, moving right along on that. That filled pretty quick.
Okay,
I'm gonna advertise probably there probably again and social media, like that.
how's your policy and procedure manual coming?
It's kind of time consuming. I mean, I'd love to have that done within the next couple months.
Okay.
Realistically, it's just, it's very tedious going through each policy and making sure all the language is right and applicable to our department, so. But it's just progress. I mean, I only can, between patrolling and doing other stuff, I work on 5-6 hours a month. So, it's
All right.
a slow process.
Would you want that put out on the sign,
What's that?
applications?
Oh, you could, yeah, sure, yeah. Yeah,
I'll get with the chief.
yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Are any of your reserves interested?
Potentially, they would be required to have an academy, and none of them have that, so
Oh.
there'd be some training that they'd have to go through, but they'd still be eligible to apply, they would just have to complete that in the first year. So,
All right, any other questions or discussion for Chief Oliphant? Very good, thank you. All right, I have George Burnett up next.
So, finally got Graves scheduled to come out on Tuesday this next week to do the rehab work. So, fingers up, let's make sure it happens. Weather's supposed to be good, so I'll have everything prepped, ready to go for him, and, should be up and running by Wednesday.
Fix your weirs. Did you have to drain that?
Yeah, I'm gonna
tank?
have to
So
drain
you
it, so
have-
that's what taking a little bit of time to figure out how I was gonna do that, cause I gotta stay in operation at the same time, so we got something worked up and we're gonna make it happen, and then it'll lower it enough that he can do his thing, it'll stay dry for about 24 hours is what he needs, so a couple hours worth of work, and then, so I'll be down for like 26 hours. But the
Okay.
flow will still be going through, but it'll be dry where he needs it dry, so, next Tuesday.
All right, any others?
It's not a tank, it's where, when they did the rehab, there was some leaks, and there's no way to know that it was gonna leak until we got back in operation, and then we saw that we had the leaks happening. I think what happened was when they did the sandblasting and everything, they actually bent the metal out a little bit in several areas, basically in all the corners. So, we're gonna come back and fix that up with caulking. Other than that, I think we're good.
Very good. Thank you. All right, next on the agenda, Jeff Feeder.
Well, kind of following with that, GRW sent, me the paperwork and Jenny the paperwork that, we're substantially complete on the, lining of the sewers as well, so, I'll get with you to sign those, Doug.
And the manhole rehab
Manhole
also,
rehab.
all that.
Yeah,
Part-
that's substantially complete, and this puts it over into the warranty period, but all the work is done. I was pushing GRW to get the final payment or invoices into us, trying to wrap it up before the end of the year. Cause we've already been contacted about, SRF to wrap that up, or Jim has, so. Like to
Okay.
get it done and, by this year, if not, definitely January timeframe, so.
All right. Anything else?
Was over at the Clayton Cafe today. I know I get a lot of questions back. The contractor's back working over there. They're gonna be working through this weekend, working on the hood stuff. Their goal is, to have that open early January. Is the new goal, so, they're making good progress. Now that they're back working on it, they should make pretty good progress. Talking with them today, they've got a lot of cleanup and cleaning to do, so, we're finally on the same page, and he's gonna make our fire marshal happy with the hood system and the way it's ducted, so that was the big holdup.
Okay.
A restaurant back in there. And then I was working with IMGIS today to get the, extra, modules added from the general stuff, so we can get parcel data into it and get the, updated, sewer map from, GRW updated into that, so. Trying to get that to where it's more useful for staff members instead of, the initial blush that went in that has, a lot of errors in it.
from you? Any questions from the council for Jeff?
One other thing is I sent out an email, this is for staff as well, with our message board. We're looking for different messages to put up one time, so if somebody's got any holiday or message they want out for the chief's application, or if he's doing a Happy New Year message or something like that. Appropriate. So trying to be more proactive with the stuff I put up, and I think I figured out how to automatically put stuff up and take it down. So
I like the way you changed the background to with the little Christmas lights for this month. That looked good.
well, thank you. I was trying to make it a little bit readable,
Yeah.
a little better to read and to
I thought it was a good change.
thank you.
Yep. Pete, you got anything for town manager stuff?
On the remodeling you're gonna do over the police department, how many desks did you wanna get rid of, Matt?
How many desks?
Yes.
Well, the broken ones need to go.
Oh, they're broken?
There's a couple of them that are broken.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Cause I was gonna suggest maybe we put it on the website, the town, if somebody
Yeah.
wanted one.
No, nobody's gonna want that. It's kind of.
These are also from the 80s.
They were probably donated, honestly.
That was all I had. I thought I'd rather just toss them if they was any
Yeah, I
good.
don't think there's any value to the ones that we're gonna get rid of.
Oh, and one other thing, you got that Chuck Schumer look with his glasses.
Those are fighting words.
Didn't mean he
Wow.
called in his footsteps.
I thought we were friends. Okay. Anything?
Where was Pete on the agenda?
Yeah, I guess Jenny meant to keep him off. I shouldn't have even asked.
Somebody had
No.
been searching for their pay all afternoon.
All right, Chief Russell, you're up next.
Just a couple introductions. If you haven't met Wayne Long, he's our fire marshal. I appointed him fire marshal back in the summer. He came to us from Plainfield recently, so, and I've been putting up with him for years. This is Troy Wilson, our assistant chief. So I just wanted to make those introductions. So when I'm not around, it's one of these two guys usually.
Yeah. We know where he lives.
Exactly.
No, we do.
He hides out, so it's hard to find him sometimes.
Well, and your fire inspector accidentally showed up at the plan commission meeting Tuesday, and we put him to work. So
He told me he was coming to the meeting, the town council meeting on Tuesday, and I said, well, it's not on Tuesday. I said, you must be going to something else.
Somebody insisted.
he walked into that meeting, and
I
we
was
put
out of
him
town.
right to work. All right. Okay, so talking about the fire department. So just a notification for everybody involved. Up here is the town council. Starting next month, or in the first quarter of next year, we're going to have 3 public hearings where Graham and Jeff Bellamy, the attorney for the township trustee, and the township board we're going to all meet together for these 3 meetings. We don't have dates knocked down yet, but we're going to get those secured soon. And so basically I'm letting you know I'm going to ask you to do extra work because they're going to be in addition to our normal business meetings. So we're going to have these 3 public hearings to talk to the public about establishing a fire territory for our fire department. And we've been working with the township trustee and the township board, and we've talked about this a few times here, but we're going to just open this up to the normal proceedings starting in January. I talked with Larry Bruner, he's in charge of the schedule for meeting at the Hazelwood Community Center, and so we're going to have those meetings there in that building. There's a little bit more room. We can set up chairs and tables however we need to, so it just to me it made sense to plan the 3 meetings there. So I'm asking from you guys and gals as the town council, just kind of keep that in mind with your scheduling, and the fact that I'll hopefully soon send you an email with these are the dates, and I'll text you, John. on, these are the dates for, the public hearings, January, February, and March. The March meeting will be where, that's when the final vote happens, so that's the most important one. But it would be, great if we could all be at all three, so. Any questions for me on that?
And we have to have a quorum at all three.
Yes.
So hopefully they won't be at 9 o'clock in the morning
No.
like their meetings are.
They're gonna be at 6:30 p.m. We kinda thought 7, but then, you know, we thought sometimes 7 means you're going into 9:30 at night, so we moved it back half hour. We didn't wanna go 6, cause people are still, you know, just trying to get home from work, and so. They'll be at 6:30 in the evening, like I said, at the Hazelwood Community Center, and, as soon as I have the dates, confirmed, I will, get that to you guys, and we'll move forward with that process. The other thing that we got to do extra is we're going to have an end of year meeting, and I don't know, did you have a
I do not.
preferred date in mind, Jenny? We don't have to have all of us there. We do have to have a quorum, but you know. So I know Steve is going to Florida from the 23rd to the 31st.
Right, and we're not gonna, you gotta pay your sewer bill though.
It's not 2 months.
I thought you said 2 weeks.
2 days.
So, if anybody has their calendar out and wants to look at, we have to. It's not going to be long. We just have to pay year-end bills.
Mhm.
So it's. I know last year it was very quick, very short.
I should be available anytime.
Anytime. Okay.
What time of day are you looking at?
Last year we did it on Saturday, it seems
I
like.
think we did too. We did it
I know
before you left.
on that
or when
last
you got
week
back.
of December, I'm available on the 27th and on the 30th. I don't have anything those 2 days.
I'm good.
Do you have a
It doesn't
preference
matter
on
to
those
me.
two?
I don't care.
Anybody else?
Yeah, the date doesn't matter to me as much as the time does,
Okay.
because I can't get away from the shop at
Oh, we can do it like
10
at,
o'clock in
we can
the
do it like
morning
at
or
6
something,
or
so-
6:30 or whatever.
Yeah,
Okay,
we can do it
6
later in the afternoon, that's,
6 p.m. on the 30th? That work for everybody? 6 p.m. on the 30th. That'll be our year-end meeting where we pay year-end bills.
When are you leaving? Coming back? You might be here.
You might make it for that if it's
Okay.
late in the day.
All right.
Say 6. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's all I have on the agenda. So we'll just go around and see if anybody has any additional. Okay.
I don't really have anything other than we'll get with Civic Plus. I've got the paperwork now, and I'll get that to them and we'll get moving on it, or whenever their timetable allows, we can start working on the site.
Okay. All right. Leanne? Okay. Your idea for the little Santa's mailbox is a big hit. So the kids have been dropping off letters. Still plenty of time if you have kids in town that you want to drop off letters.
And some people drop their sewer bill in there.
Probably don't want to encourage that.
Judy
There's
came
another
over.
box out there for the
Yeah.
But John, you had something
Yeah.
that you wanted to bring up?
Yeah, Doug talked about this a couple meetings ago on the town council's pay. We get paid, could do it either like on the 15th once a month, or once a month, or like we kinda agreed that twice a year is good. But I'd like to change it from the end of the month to the 15th, those months.
The state board of accounts won't let us. That's why you get paid on the 31st, because you can't get paid ahead of the time of when you do your 6-month pay. Cause that's when I used to pay you guys on the 15th because of Christmas, and I got in trouble for it.
Well, that would include any of our employees can't get paid early either then.
No, because we get paid on the 15th and the 30th. We don't get paid
So
twice.
we-
No,
they
there's
say
times-
we could
there's
get-
times you pass out their checks before the 15th to the
Only
employee.
if it's the 14th and I give it to them, cause they're gonna get it the next day. We never get paid before, we only get paid on the 15th and the last day of the month.
Well, from what
So
you,
the State Board of Accounts says we could get paid every month if we wanted, but it would still be at the end of each month. Okay,
Cause you have to do your month of service before you get paid.
okay, so I misunderstood on that point. I thought we could change it to whenever we wanted to. Okay,
well, then,
Now, that's the time that I got told I couldn't pay on the 15th like I was doing it, because they said they haven't done their 6 month of work to get paid for 6 months until the end of that month, till the end of December. I think they just pick at things.
Yeah.
Anything to make you look like
because
you
we've,
don't know
I
what
mean,
you're
if
doing.
by the 15th, we've already had our monthly meeting, so
Yeah.
that's technically,
And you've already used your charge card to buy all your Christmas. But that was the reasoning. I'll find the thing in there and show you from one of the audits that I did.
well, I believe you.
Yeah. But you can check into it more. If that's the case, I don't mind giving you a check on the 15th.
all right, Steve, you have anything to add? Jenny?
No, I don't.
Anything else? Graham? Nope. All right. And did we have anybody sign up for public comment? We did. All right. Welcome.
Hi, Jay Thompson, small town rep from the Communications Advisory Board. We had a meeting last month. The main topic was the Communications Center is moving their notification system to smart911.com. There's a sign up link on hccom.org, which is our communications website for Phoenix County Communications. So we're transitioning from Everbridge. I think the plan is to take all those numbers and put them in the new database. I signed up today. The Smart 911 has more options. You can put in locations like electric meter and gas shutoff valve, where your furnace is. Items like that would help the firefighters as they're en route to know which side of the building to head to, and do they have to come in an emergency situation. So that was the main thrust of the meeting. We're going to meet again probably in February and then again in August, I think, just so we can approve the budget. So that there's nothing earth-shattering going on as far as 911 goes. So, by the way, it's on Pittsburgh, we get paid quarterly for council members. That helps you guys anyhow. So just a thought.
Yeah,
So,
she told us we could change it to
Yeah.
getting paid every month even if we wanted it.
yeah. Ours is-
All right, well, thanks for the
Yeah.
info on the
Sure.
communications side of it. Which it does remind me, is the fire department still helping with address plates? I know at one time on your website, there was a thing that said if you wanted help having a better displayed address numbers, you could.
The person that is handling that's no.
And these two, I'll take them.
Yeah, well, it's on the list of
These need to go
other
to them too.
revolved.
Okay, I meant to talk to you about that the other
We
day,
have
in
some
fact, because
supplies, but I don't know how much.
when we had this IMGIS thing that I was walking around town with the iPad looking at, things, and it had on the iPad the address sitting right on top of each house that I was looking at on here. But I'd look up at the house and I couldn't see numbers on a lot of buildings, so I just didn't know if that was still something you guys, were trying to push and encourage residences to have
Provide
their
that program, yes.
numbers displayed so that you guys know where to stop when you're out there. All right. Well, as our final regular business meeting of the year, I'd just like to say thank you to each and every council member and staff member in town. We've had a crazy year again, and I think you guys have all done an excellent job working together as a team, and just furthering, the good things we're doing in town. So thank you very much, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Do I have a consensus to adjourn?
Hey.
All right, meeting adjourned.